Namaste everyone, it's Leeann from Leeann, Carey Yoga, and this is our Facebook Weekly Watch. I am responding to those of you who asked to cover Utakatasana, which is chair pose. And primarily the word that I hear mostly is painful. And the pain that people tend to experience in this pose is in the lower back. So I just want to cover some of the things that need to happen in order to prevent yourself from feeling bad in this pose, and also to do it in a really safe way. So one of the things that we have to think about is that when we're practicing yoga is that the body is it's split in a lot of different segments, but one place that it's split is here, from the navel down and then the navel up. And so oftentimes when we bend the knees in certain asanas, all of our energy just drops down to our feet, and we don't really pay attention to that split. So I'm going to ask you today to imagine from the navel down that you're releasing energy down, and then from the navel up you're pulling energy straight up. And then those two placements of energy need to occur simultaneously. So instead of everything going down or everything going up, that we're sort of doing this. So one of the things that has to happen when that occurs is the mid-back bones need to go forward. So I'm just going to side view you to show you what tends to happen. People lead from the pelvis and the hips, and so their arms go up. That changes the direction or position of the pelvis. You either move into a really counter-nutated sacrum, or I'll say a posterior tilt in the pelvis, right, where the pelvis moves back, or they move to a forward tilt where the pelvis moves forward and the tailbone pokes out, and that puts pressure on the lumbar. Either way, it puts too much strain on the lumbar spine. So when the arms go up, you have to be able to find a neutral spine, a neutral pelvis, I should say, and then from there, the mid-back bones need to go forward. So what I like to do is perhaps teach students first to stretch the arms back behind them so they can feel that the mid-back bones going forward, almost like a thoracic back bend. And then from there to bend the knees just a little bit, keeping the neutral pelvis. And then start to bend the knees, not taking them beyond the tips of the toes, just in a pretty comfortable position. And holding that place for a little bit to feel who they are in the pelvis. Then once they've gotten a sense of who they are, to make adjustments wherever that needs to be, whether they come into just a little bit posterior tilt or they push back a little bit more into an anterior tilt. Then from there they can stretch the arms up. So after doing all of that, then it's find the arms up overhead, make the back bend in the thoracic spine and the mid-back, and as the knees go down, stretch up from the navel and stretch down from the navel down to the feet so that everything doesn't just dump into the pelvis. So here I go, trying to practice that. I take a gaze at the knees to make sure that they're not beyond the tips of the toes. I make more of an upper back bend, mid-back back bend for me because that works in my lower back. If that tends to push my butt out too much, I back off, try to find the neutral spine once again, or pelvis I should say, and move the mid-back bones, and then I start to go down. And what I'm watching for is that my chest doesn't tilt forward, because that wants to put me either into correction to take the extension out or go more into extension. So I'm just going to drop down to where I can without letting the upper spine go forward anymore. That's about where my Utakatasana is. Outer shins together, outer thighs together, outer hips together, hamstrings back, and once again, no tilting forward, moving the mid-back bones all the way toward the front of the chest. And that's the Utakatasana. Thanks. Let me know how it goes. Namaste.